Okay, let's just get fucking right into it. Yesterday I saw the rumors for there being a direct today, and it's like, I mean not today, tomorrow, and I was like, you know what? That's pretty reasonable, actually. I thought it would have made more sense for a Switch One direct to have been in February during the usual time, and then have the Switch 2 one in April, like we've had confirmed. But whatever, man. They don't listen to me, I guess. Um, yeah, I'm very excited for this, to be honest. I'm not expecting too much. There's a bunch on the screen, but really, I would only expect, like, not even half. Okay, maybe half of these things. Um, Pretty much just anything I'm vaguely interested in, which is pretty much anything first party, and then some third parties I give a shit about, I'll talk about here. Like I just said, I don't expect all of this, but if I thought something was possible, yeah, throw it on there. Um, I'm not joined for this one. It's just me. But the Switch 2 one shouldn't be, I think. I think I'll have someone with me. We'll see. But this shouldn't be too long. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe I'm extra insane. Maybe I forgot to hit record. Let me check. No, I'm definitely recording. Alright, cool. Back in the back in the thumbnail. My fucking scuffed ass setup of just OBS recording a fucking image. I could find a better way to do this. But that's too much work. Pretty much everything here, I find to be, there's one thing here that I'm just like, yeah, no, that's not gonna be here. But there's a chance. There is a chance. So I thought, let's do it. Uh, don't know the best order to go about this in. I think I'll start here and then make my way around. Uh, the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remasters. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get both of them. If we only get one, I would assume Wind Waker. I don't think. It's really hard to tell if they would bundle them together, to be honest, because I could see them doing it just as much as I couldn't see them doing it. I wouldn't be shocked if they stealth dropped at the end of the direct, and then physical copies came out in a couple months, or like a month, similar to what they did with Metroid Prime 1 Remastered and Pikmin 1 and 2. I wouldn't like. I'm not. If they do announce those, I would bet on that. But yeah, if we only get one, I would say Wind Waker. There's a Zelda release every year, literally every single year. So it just makes sense that would be these. I don't expect a new game, even for the Switch 2. I think this is an off year for Zelda. Um, they've probably been done with these games for so long. It's just been a matter of when to release them. And since I don't see them putting out anything else in regards to Zelda this year, it just makes sense to shuffle these out, fill up a spot on the release calendar, get something Zelda out for the year. Yeah. Above that, I have fucking no one who watches this is gonna know who that is. This is Rido from the, I believe it's Devil Summoner. I don't actually know for sure. It's an Atlas game. Love Atlas. Uh, a remaster of his two PS2 games, I believe, leaked recently through the Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne Steam page. I say recently, but might have been half a year ago at this point. But yeah, I know his games. I'm looking them up as I speak, so I'm stalling for time. Yeah, Devil Summoner for Rido games. There's two, like I said. I think Atlas has been supporting the Switch for forever. They had they did SMT5 was like the first game revealed for the damn thing, and they've been putting out pretty much every single major Atlas release. Okay, not really. A lot of Atlas releases are coming to Switch. Have been coming to Switch. I don't think Reload and ReFantasio will be coming to Switch. I think those are Switch 2 games. But Rido, I mean, I don't expect this to be much of a remaster. I'm thinking SMT3, Nocturne, like that at best. It'll be kind of a rough remaster, but remaster of a good game nonetheless. I'm excited for it. I'm pretty confident this will be here. I feel it could just make sense to show up here. 100 Line. I don't have too much to say about this. I'm excited for this game. I've heard mixed things based on the demo. Most people seem to like it. I have a couple of Zero Escape friends who thought it was ass, but then others who thought it was fine, so I don't know. Going in with my expectations in check, I guess would be the phrase for it. I'm excited for it. But I'm not expecting it to be like zero escape levels of good. Probably more on the Danganronpa side, which is still good, but it's not zero escape. But yeah, I think that'll be here, and I think it'll probably get like a pretty significant showing, like 2-3 minute overview trailer. This right here is my unrealistic prediction that I'm gonna put on here until it happens. Ace Attorney 7, they've given so much fucking love to this series recently. You had the Great Ace Attorney remasters in 2021, and then this last year we had the Apollo Justice Trilogy in January, and the Investigations games in September, I believe. So, they've been putting out these things about every 6 months. Do I expect that to continue? Not past AA7. I think they're putting so much attention on this franchise that it's building towards something. Maybe not now, maybe it is later in the year, but with how much attention is on Ace Attorney recently, I think it's at least somewhat reasonable to say maybe it's finally time they give us 7. And it's kind of the safest prediction, but I do think 7 would be an Athena game with Apollo and Kura in and Phoenix as like a mentor. I would like that. Trim the focus down a bit. Focus really just hone in on Athena. I think that's more likely now too, that we know 4 through 6 are the Apollo trilogy, and they named it that instead of like the Ace Attorney trilogy 2. I think that's a good sign for an eventual Athena Sykes Ace Attorney trilogy, which I would love. Athena is my favorite of the 3 defense lawyers in the main series, so I would love that. I did consider doing a fuck-ass Kazuma Asogi investigations thing, since it is the 10-year anniversary of Great Ace Attorneys this year, but I don't think so. It would be awesome, but no. Silksong, this is such a big deal, but to be honest, I don't care. Like, I'll play the original Hollow Knight eventually. I played maybe an hour of it. I enjoyed it for what it is. Metroidvanias aren't really much of my thing, but they're still good games. I'll get to it eventually. There was a listing of this, or maybe it got, like, rated again in some country, but there's some smoke with Silksong, and I think, there's gotta be fire, man. This game has been... People have been waiting for this for so fucking long, and I think it's just time to give it to them, man. I don't know when it would come. I've seen people say that they would stealth drop it. I think that's maybe a bit too optimistic. I think they would want to, like, give it a release date a couple months out to continue the hype cycle instead of just fucking dropping it on us. After that, this leaked quite a while ago as well. A remaster of Planet Robobot. I think easy thing to get out. A lot of the stuff on this is just remasters. There's not a single new there's not a single new first-party Nintendo game I'm expecting here that hasn't already been announced, or I guess the asterisk that is kind of this one, which I'll get into later. But Planet Robobot, I think, is one of the safest predictions here. It's been rumored, like I said. I think it's an easy thing to fill out the lineup. The final year of a system is always going to be filled with remasters. This is an easy one. There's always Kirby games. It's pretty much a yearly franchise at this point. Robobot is pretty beloved. Like, pretty much universally agreed, one of the best Kirby games. Maybe they'll add, like, a 2-player mode to it, because HAL always seems to like to add some sort of content to the remasters. Although, now that I say that, I'm not sure if they actually... Yeah, they do, I guess. Return to Dreamland, Epic Yarn, Superstar, I guess, on the SNES, all had stuff added to them. So I guess it's pretty reasonable to expect them to include something more. Metroid Prime 4, I think that's the biggest thing for this Direct. We'll probably get a significant amount of time focused on it. Maybe it ends the show, maybe it starts it. I would probably say it's more likely that it gets like a 4-minute thing in the middle of the Direct. Although if that was the case, I would think maybe they would have said that. So maybe not. Regardless, we're gonna see Metroid. We'll get a release date. Probably probably June-ish. I could see it being a day-and-date thing with the Switch 2, but not having a Switch 2 copy. Just being, hey, it's backwards compatible. Maybe there's a patch for the Switch 2 version you can install that brings it up. I'm not a big Metroid guy. I said when I talked about Silk Song that Metroidvanias just don't do it much for me. I think the Prime games would be better for me just because they're like 3D shooters versus a 2D game, which fucking iPad baby brain, I just prefer 3D games. Um, Metroid's gonna be there. I really don't have much else to say. I think 2 and 3 remastered will happen eventually, but I think we're gonna get Prime 4 first at this point. Kid Icarus Uprising. Right before I recorded this, I thought to myself, yeah, that would make more sense for the Switch 2. But I had it on the thumbnail, so I'm just gonna talk about it. Sakurai is working on a game. He just is. He said that, when he was doing his YouTube channel, he recorded, like, everything in the span of, like, 3 months, and then released it over a couple years. I think he's clearly been working on a game for at least 2 years or so. If it's Uprising, it should be ready to come out pretty soon, I think. So, I personally think of the two, Smash is more likely, but that won't be coming out for a while, and most likely won't even be announced at this Switch 2 Direct. I think that's something they announce next year or the following year. But if he could theoretically be working on both of them, because I think you wouldn't need too much direct involvement for Kid Icarus. If it's just a remaster of Uprising. The reason why I think it would work better for Switch 2 is because the fucking Joy-Con mouse thing is perfect for that game's control scheme. Make it actually bearable to play, so it doesn't hurt. I haven't actually played Icarus, but I know, like, having just one joystick for that was rough. And I think the mouse... What else are they calling it? The MouseCon? Whatever. I think that's the perfect fix for that. So, maybe it's a Switch 2 game, maybe Switch 1. Maybe it's 1 and works on 2. I mean, any Switch 1 game would work on 2. But, nonetheless, I think it's a reasonable enough prediction. I would say that, it's worth putting on here. It's gonna happen eventually, it's just a matter of when. And I think now is probably the best I've ever felt about it. But also, like I said, I think Smash 6 is being worked on. So, I think that's something we'll see announced, like, 2025. Wait, it's shit. This year is 2025. I think that's like a 26. Did I just say 2016? A 2026 thing. It gets announced and maybe comes out in 27. I don't know. I don't think it's time yet. Even it could be 2028 for all I know. But yeah, I don't have shit to say about Sonic Racing Crossworlds, but I'm gonna mention it at least because Sonic shit always seems to be at these. Get a quick trailer for that. Maybe we get like another remaster. I know Heroes was in the pipeline to be remastered probably, and they've been pumping out those remasters like crazy. I know we had Generations last year, and then not 23, but 22 I think, maybe 21. We had Colors Ultimate, so I think it's a bit early for another remaster, but I wouldn't be shocked. F-Zero GX, I think a lot of the remasters we've been getting recently have been, like, super heavily requested. Thousand Year Door, RPG, Mario RPG. Just games that people have been wanting remasters for forever, and Nintendo never fucking listened, because why would they? But now it seems they actually have. So I think a GX remaster is pretty reasonable. Not do I think it's guaranteed, no. I think the most likely things for this Direct are like Robobot, Metroid Prime, and then 2 of the Zelda, F-Zero, or Fire Emblem things. Or I guess Kid Icarus too. 2 of these 4 things. But yeah, I'm not a big F-Zero guy. I think it's a great thing to end on though. I think you end on F-Zero and that's like a huge crowd pleaser. Well, that many people actually give a shit, I don't know, but it's definitely enough to get people talking, and I think they, especially with F-Zero 99 doing moderately well, I think, they probably want to capitalize on that new momentum the series has gotten. And then finally, this is the prediction, besides Ace Attorney 7, that I give the most of a shit about, and I'm also pretty confident in. I'd say it's probably like the third most likely thing here. Like Metroid 1, Robobot 2, Fire Emblem 3. Not count 100 Line and Sonic have to be there. I'm not even gonna mention those. But for Fire Emblem, like this is the number one thing I want besides Ace Attorney 7. But I think with Fire Emblem, and when I said number one thing I want, I completely fucking forgot about something else that I fucking need. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Won't be on the thumbnail. Unless I want to, like, cut it in randomly somewhere, but it wouldn't look good. I'll just leave it out. I think there's two options with Fire Emblem. Either we get an Echoes of Genealogy of the Holy War. We get a remaster of that, pretty much from the ground up, like Shadows of Valentina was, or we get Awakening HD with all the DLC on the cartridge. I think, if you asked me before, I would say FE4, because, like, it's a big remaster that, like, makes sense to be towards the end of a system's lifespan, like how Shadows of Valentina was. Great game, by the way. But also, that almost seems like something. Now that Fire Emblem is a bigger series, maybe you could push that as like a bigger release for the next system. Meanwhile, Awakening HD is something they could realistically not put that much effort in, but still put out and have a reason to, which is to preserve the DLC content. And also, like, that shit will sell. Awakening is the game that saves the franchise from just fucking going under. So, if I had to predict one of these, I would honestly lean towards Awakening at this point, unfortunately. I like Awakening, I think it's a bit overhyped. Regardless, I will play it. I will play anything Fire Emblem, I'm not even kidding. You could remaster three houses and I'd play it again. I don't care. Just give me anything Fire Emblem. And I think it's pretty realistic, because N-Gage came out 2023, but for that, it was, it had been done for like a year at that point. So maybe Fire Emblem games are spaced out about every 2 years. I think that might be pushing it a little bit, but if you think about it, 2017 had Shadows of Valentina, Warriors, and Heroes. That year was kind of fucked. Like, don't even think of, like, there's just too much there. 3 games is insane. I guess the only one that matters too much is Shadows of Valentina. I was gonna start with 2017, when I went back 3 years, but I realized 15 was Fates, and I don't know if Awakening was 12 or 13, but if you go beyond that, 2019 was 3 Houses, 2021 might have been 3 Hopes, and then 2023 we had N-Gage. So 2025, it makes sense to have something. I would think maybe the main team had a remake of one of these ready in the pipeline. I think one of these will happen, and then after that, maybe 2027 or 2028, we will get the next game from the 3 Houses team, and it's hopefully even a fraction of how good that fucking masterpiece was. The final prediction I didn't include on this, and I should have, because that's my fucking game, Tomodachi Life with the Miitopia Maker. That game is fucking phenomenal. I've been replaying it on the 3DS recently, because I have phases with that game, where I'll just pick it up every about 2 years or so, and dump like 100 hours into it. It's so easy to just not give a shit about. Like, I've had times where I'm just like, I don't know, doing schoolwork, and you just open up the 3DS, put it to the side, and do some shit. You don't need to give it like any attention. It's fun, goofy moments. I think a remaster or even a sequel wouldn't require that much effort and would sell so well. It's the kind of thing like F-Zero where it's been requested for so long to get something more with it, but it just hasn't happened. And I think now could be the time. Honestly, I'm regretting not putting it on here, but just pretend that like T-O... Alright, there's no M. I was gonna spell Tomodachi Life with the fucking letters, but I can't do that. March? Pretend... March A... Whatever, it doesn't matter. Tomodachi Life, yes. Give it to me. Please, God. It's kind of funny. The 3, like, big things I've been begging for every direct of the last few years has been microphone just cut off for no reason whatsoever. Last 3 years, it's been Ace Attorney 7, Fire Emblem remakes, and Tomodachi Life. Please just give me one of them. I've been begging for those 3 things forever. If they give me one, this is my direct. Like, that's my fucking showcase. To give me 2, then, like, I'll just fucking die. I don't even care if it's remasters. Like, those are my games. I guess one more thing that I forgot to talk about, I was originally going to include it on here, but then I didn't, but now I wish I did, is Persona. I think it's not quite time for a Persona announcement. Atlus is trying to make the franchise a yearly thing. I could see them maybe skipping out this year just because they released so much last year. If we do get something Persona announced here, maybe Q1 and 2 in a bundle, another 3DS remaster, kind of a common trend with this, with Robobot, Uprising, and Awakening. But yeah, I think Q1 and 2 is reasonable. Maybe Persona 2 Duology or 1. The leaked Persona 4 remaster remake, I mean, I don't think that's going to come out for a while. I know the 3 remake was announced only a couple months after the domain leaked, like with P4, but I think P4 remake was already such a given that maybe they just don't feel like they're spoiling much by getting the domain. I think it's just too soon for P4. And then that creates the issue of like, okay, what about P6? When's that going to come out? Because I was thinking P6 would be a this year game and announced like later on, and then P4 would be like 2028. But who knows at this point? Honestly, this whole cycle with releasing Atlus games is just confusing at this point. Like, is it going to be P4, 1, 2, Duology, or 6? I don't fucking know. Could we just get like a Q Duology? I don't fucking know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Probably said more than I intended to. Whoops. I think I will, tomorrow evening, I'll probably record just like my thoughts on it. I'll do what I did here, where I just, instead of throwing on characters from like what I'm predicting, I'll just throw on characters from like what they announced. And then I want to do predictions for the Switch 2 Direct, like I said. I should have someone joining me. If not, that's fine. I'll do a reaction. Not like a live reaction, but just like something like this where I just record me fucking yapping about it. But I think that's all I have to say. It's kind of hard to end, like, really end these. Look at the thumbnails, by the way, for future stuff. I'm gonna record this soon, but if you're watching this, you probably don't give a shit about that, and vice versa. I'll end this in a second. I don't know how long. Oh, just over 22 minutes. That's not bad at all. Bit over what I intended, but who gives a shit? I had something I was gonna say, but I forgot. Yay, content farm. Yay.